If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
You know, talk about great radio. I used to love. Did you ever hear? Great local broadcast, kind of like public access? It's TV, but it was the greatest stuff in the world. My friend and I used to go on the show WEDU, and we did stuff. I don't think anybody's even paying attention. I don't think they got it. And when we met, one of the greatest moments was when we met Leslie Nielsen. And Leslie Nielsen had this machine, there we go. He would have it in his hand. It was called a handy gas, HAN-D-gas. And it would do that. There we go. And when we first met him, it was at a Wade Boggs. He would come every year to Tampa area. It was a Wade Boggs. He had a celebrity softball game. I think for his sister who had I believe, some kind of a neuromuscular disease or something. But it was a wonderful event, and we met Leslie Nielsen, and it was like, wow, this is a great guy. And the first time I met him, I said, Mr. Nielsen, I'm a big fan of yours. And I said, whoa, hey, and nobody said anything. I said, what happens? And I didn't think anything of it. So I'm walking out, and my other friends are there from the station. I said, the funniest thing happened with Leslie. I said, you're not going to believe this, but I said, did he break wind, as they say? I said, yeah. He says, I'm the same thing for me. Me too. Wait a minute. So we walked back. It's like this dugout. We said, all right, what is it? And he showed us this machine, this push cushion. It's called Handy Gas. His friend Jack Martin came up with it. And my friend bought the company. But Leslie Nielsen had this one with him that he broke. It takes a long time to break it in, and we had to buy one. So what my friend did, my other friend, who was an evil genius, he went on local, listen to this, he went on local cable access. He brought in an actual physician, like a gastroenterologist who did a colonoscopy. He ran the tube with the fiber optic. My friend, Ted Webb, the late Ted Webb, he had his arm, like the crook of your arm, the fold. They ran the tube through there. And you saw this, like, I don't know what it was, hair. And, like, what is this? And he would describe it, and they would interlace it with sounds of, wind breaking. And it was this doctor was fantastic. He used, and now we're approaching the cecum, and he goes, is the release of gas? Oh, very, very much. And my friend, who was sitting there the whole time with this look of confused puzzlement, nobody knew what to do with it. What is this? But if you could have seen what a fiber optic looks like in your arm, you're thinking, it was the greatest stuff ever. See, that was genius. That wouldn't last for a long time. But then they had these poor people who would do these public access. And people would call up and just spew filth. And he couldn't push the button fast enough. And I watched it. I was mesmerized. And I love that stuff. That doesn't, I never heard a Howard Stern show one time. Never heard it. I heard moments of it like on, YouTube or something. Never. I appreciate what he did. But that stuff is like, there's nothing really that butt bongo. And it's like, it's okay. But that was funny by virtue of the fact that, gee, look how far he went. Look how close he got. Did you hear what he almost said? Then they opened up the barriers, removed the barriers. He's on Sirius, and then nobody cared. And he sounded like excessive. Like, you have to. And you know who the genius was in the whole thing? Robin. How many years of that? Making millions? That's the genius.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.